The following program is a production of WMFE, Orlando, Melbourne, Daytona Beach.
Happy holidays! Here's what's coming up on The Arts Connection. It's a classic holiday show that's enchanted audiences all over the world.
Christmas wouldn't be the same without Nutcracker.
We're behind the scenes at Orlando Ballet's production of The Nutcracker. How a Winter Park museum gives back.
It's the gift of art and it's the gift of beauty.
Sharing priceless Tiffany treasures with the community. Plus, canceled shows and companies going under. 2008's been a hard year for the arts, but what's the outlook for 2009?
I cannot tell you that a lot of arts groups might not go under. I can't tell you that the quality of a lot of the performances and of the staff they're able to maintain won't be cut. I can't guarantee that at all. I wouldn't even begin to. It's a mystery how we're going to get out of this.
All that and more just ahead on The Arts Connection.
The Arts Connection is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to WMFE from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to The Arts Connection, your program about all things creative here in Central Florida. I'm Cecily Wilson, and it's great to be back just in time for the holidays. In fact, this week we're celebrating the season here in Mount Dora. Each year, 2 million lights brighten the town square of this Lake County city, which is also known for its artistic community. So later on, we'll stop in at the Mount Dora Center for the Arts to find out how they're bringing a little artistic flair to holiday shopping. But first, you may have seen the trailers this week of a screening of a San Francisco production of The Nutcracker coming up here on WMFE. But seeing it on screen is one thing. Why not take the family to see it live? The Orlando Ballet is performing this holiday classic through the weekend, and we paid a visit for a behind-the-scenes peek.
Christmas wouldn't be the same without Nutcracker.
It becomes a tradition, and then you have something to look forward to.
It wasn't always that way. It is because of a man named George Balanchine, who founded New York City Ballet. And The Nutcracker was a little known work done at the Mariinsky Theater in St. Petersburg years ago. And interestingly, it wasn't even done at Christmas time.
When you think of the Nutcracker, it definitely exemplifies everything that you think of when you think of the holidays. There's a big Christmas party with gifts and children. There's snow. There's a land of sweets and a child's fantasy and everything that a child could ever dream of.
Balanchine remembered the work, remembered the score by Tchaikovsky, and said this would be fantastic for the American marketplace. And in the early 1950s, he staged the work on New York City Ballet, and it spread like wildfire.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We've been working on this performance for over a month now, and it's a lot of hours of work every day, 10 to 6, repeating and rehearsing the same dances over and over, and it's a lot of hard work.
Together, mice, you're not together.
It's about 6 weeks of work, 6 weeks of professional company dancers rehearsing every day, of production crew, painting and building sets. We do have 110 children participating, and they actually rehearse for about 3 months. This production is great. We have exploding sword fights. We have, to the death battles. We have many new elements this year in the party scene. Our Mother Ginger that has the children come out of was sort of a ball gown, and it has been transformed into much more of a Mother Hubbard.
Dun, 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 dun. I loved watching the Arabian and the snow scene and Sugar Plum.
This costume was originally the costume that I wore the very first time I did Nutcracker when I was 16 years old. This is all embroidered, hand sewn, and then I don't know if you can tell, but there's individual sparkles here that were all dots of glue and then glitter poured onto it. And then of course you have the V-neck to make you look longer on stage, and this should not show on stage. It's like an illusion.
I think ballet is the perfect art form. It has music, it has acting, it has dance, and the Nutcracker has literally kept ballet companies in America alive and afloat.
I loved seeing it. I would ask my mom every year, are we going to the Nutcracker this year?
It's our cash cow because people come to the Nutcracker that don't come to the other ballets. So our audience is much more broad than it would be otherwise. And because of that, it brings revenue that really helps sustain us for the whole year. So it's a great way to support the arts.
5, 6, 7, 8, count it for them, Kim.
Nutcracker is the perfect opportunity for children to engage in the arts. Here at the Orlando Ballet, we have a wonderful opportunity for kids called the Family Series, which is our ballets shortened into hour and a half productions, which makes it much easier for the children to watch because their attention span is easier to be kept.
Exposure to classical arts improves academic achievement.
I think Nutcracker is an amazing part of Christmas, but more importantly, an amazing part of a childhood.
The Orlando Ballet's performance of the Nutcracker ends this weekend. Details at our website at wmfe.org/arts. We'll have more on the ballet and the difficult year they've had coming up a little later on in our program. Well, we're here in Mount Dora this week, home to not only a dazzling display of holiday lights, but also to the Mount Dora Center for the Arts, which is where we are now. The center opened in 1985 and offers art classes, a gallery, and also runs the Mount Dora Arts Festival. And if that isn't enough, well, they have something new for the holidays. And joining me now to tell us more is gallery manager Cliffette Nichols. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, tell us more about this holiday gift shop.
Well, the Holiday Gift Show is an artisan gift shop. It's run by we have 32 membered artists that are displaying work in there. It is a juried show by our local artists. They get to pick and choose what items are in the show, what kind of items are best suited for the economy to be able to sell. We don't want too much of high-priced items because we know people are in a lull. And it's all run by volunteers who are artists who have work displayed in the show. They all are required to give 10 hours of their time in order for us to display their work for sale.
I took a peek at some of the things in the show. Now, do you have something on your list for Santa?
Well, there is a local artist we do have. She's a fiber artist. Her name is Heather Glennon. She does a lot of fiber work, and what she did is take her scraps that she had left over, and she made some day planner covers and some journal covers for 2009, and they're very funky and cool, and they've been selling out a lot.
I love the fairies. Those fairies are gorgeous.
Fairies are great. Jeannie is one of our teachers here. She does teach a fairy class. She does have angels on the tree over there. She also does lifelike babies. She's very, very good in her clay work.
Now, the center also runs the Mount Dora's famous annual art festival. So the next one is just around the corner, right?
The next one is February 7th and 8th of 2009. It'll be our 34th annual Arts Festival. We will showcase 285 artists, which is also another juried show. It's juried by a bunch of local artists here as well as board members of ours.
But wait, there's more. There's a gallery, which is where we are now. What's up next for the showing?
We have a painter, Thomas Busby. He is a local artist, as well as a glass sculpturist. Her name is Susan Gott, and they will both be here doing a co-op gallery exhibit.
Okay, that sounds really great. So for those last-minute shoppers, how long do you have before you call it quits?
Well, the Great Holiday Gift Show is open until February 13th, and on January 1st, we will remove all the items that are in there for Christmas and for the New Year's holiday, and it'll be completely revamped with Valentine's Day items and all new artists.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Cliffette Nichols, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Now, if you'd like more information on the classes that they offer, everything from art to belly dancing, simply check out the links at our website. That's wmfa.org/arts. Well, still ahead on the Arts Connection.
In all the 22 years I've lived here in Orlando, I've never seen it as desperate as it is right now.
It's been a tough year for the arts, but will 2009 be any better? We ask the experts for their verdict. Well, we're back outside among the lights in Mount Dora Town Square, and we have another holiday tradition for you. Each year, Winter Park's Morse Museum reveals some rarely seen treasures from its Tiffany collection in a special event called Christmas in the Park. And as Christine Kenny discovered, it's a gift the whole community can share.
With the Christmas season comes the gift of giving.
Isn't that gorgeous?
It's very pretty.
And for the Winter Park community, it's a chance to experience the gift of art.
Not any other place in the world that I know of that you can see leaded glass windows out in a park and enjoy it in a natural setting rather than in a museum or something of that sort.
9 exquisite Tiffany glass windows, each over a century old.
These windows are memorial windows that were originally in the chapel for a charitable home in New York City that was established in 1814.
Windows the public sees only once a year on the first Thursday of December at the Morse Museum's annual Christmas in the Park celebration, when they share these pieces from their unique collection of Tiffany glass. Museum spokeswoman Catherine Henman explains how it all started.
Christmas in the Park was begun as a way to share part of our Tiffany collection with the community in a informal, relaxed situation.
A vision of Hugh and Jeanette McCain. They founded the Morse Museum back in 1942 and started Christmas in the Park back in the 70s. In fact, 2008 is its 30th year. Harold Ward is the president of the Genius Foundation, set up by the McCains to support the museum and its work.
Hugh and Jeanette originally wanted to do something special for the community.
You see examples of their altruism all over.
But the McCains' generosity extends even beyond Christmas in the Park. Once the lights dim and the celebration ends, most of the windows go back to storage, while 4 make their way to the Winter Park Hospital and senior living homes.
It means a lot to have it here. It's joyful. It's great to look at. I like looking at it. I can't take my eyes off of it.
It's the gift of art and it's the gift of beauty.
A gift that brings this Christmas in the Park tradition literally through their front door.
It's just such a joyful, wonderful night, and we hope to bring the same joy and experience to the people who could not attend.
People particularly enjoy having it here at the assisted living and the healthcare center where people can't get out so much.
Residents who can't get out, and every year we get a different one.
Priceless pieces of art they get to call their own for 1 month.
Winter Park Towers is blessed every year to have a Tiffany window for Christmas, and we're so fortunate.
Makes a very nice part of our Christmas holiday.
Greeting residents with a glow, a sparkle, and for some, a sense of nostalgia.
When I look at it, I look over at the Christmas tree, I look back at that, it reminds me of being in church. It reminds me of Christmas days, holidays coming up.
Well, it's a lovely connection with when we were growing up in Winter Park.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
The McCains always wanted to make this art accessible, and they really believed that it would improve your life and that it would just, elevate your spirits.
It'll be the focal point of the season, don't you think, Margaret?
Oh, I would hope so.
Right, right.
And the giving doesn't stop there. Christmas Eve, the Morse Museum is running its traditional open house, which means admission into the museum is free all day. Now, you don't need me to tell you how bad the economy has been doing this year, but how have the arts been doing during this downturn? Kristen Kenny, she's been very busy this week, has been finding out.
2008 has been a tough year for the arts. For some groups, big debts have meant big cutbacks. Others have shut down for good, and key events on the arts calendar have been canceled. And the worst might not be over yet.
We're telling people, and we're hearing from our business partners, this is not this year. This is for the next 2 or 3 years as the financial markets and the economy start to rebound.
In all the 22 years I've lived here in Orlando, I've never seen it as desperate as it is right now.
So what is the state of the arts across Central Florida? To find out, I spoke to some leading figures in the cultural community for their take on the past year. Margot Knight, head of United Arts, Josh Garrick, arts writer for Orlando Home and Leisure magazine and curator for Millennia Fine Art Gallery, and Lindy Shepard, arts and culture editor for the Orlando Weekly. And as she told me, the poor economy means donors and ticket buyers are cutting back, and that means things will get tighter for arts groups.
There is no one going to bail anybody out, and there's no big fix. It's a complete different time. It's a different age, and people will have to adapt to that. And they will. They always do.
And that means adapting to tight budgets. 9 of the 15 largest arts groups in the area posted deficits for 2008. Knight says that means cutbacks for organizations who want to stay afloat.
We don't have a whole lot of cash to burn through. So there hasn't been an ability to really incrementally cut things. People are having to be very deliberate about making the cuts very quickly that will keep them in the black.
For theater groups, that means smaller shows like October's production of The Glass Menagerie at Orlando Shakespeare Theater, which conveniently used just 4 actors.
Now, obviously, a 3-character play is less expensive to put on than, say, a full-blown Shakespeare production, which is going to have to need at least, say, 12 to 20 actors.
Yet the play was well received, and as Garrick says, it's a creative way of saving money.
I mean, The Glass Menagerie is a great play, and nobody's ever going to question why you would put on that play. However, to do it in a year in which you have to watch your fiscal responsibility is a very good idea.
But some problems started before the current recession. The Orlando Ballet ended their last season nearly $500,000 in the red and lost executive director Russell Allen, swiftly followed by artistic director Bruce Marks. The hard times meant swift cuts.
This season, the ballet cut back from 9 to just 5 full-length performances of the Nutcracker and decided to drop the Philharmonic from the Nutcracker in order to save cash. But the changes that might help one organization can certainly hurt another.
You can say that the ballet saved some money by going back to the practice, which they had for years, of dancing the Nutcracker to tape. But what did that then do to the Philharmonic that was counting on a certain amount of money?
I hate it when the cuts actually impact other arts organizations, and that's an example. It's a problem because it hurts those musicians. I mean, remember that it's not just money to an organization, it's money to human beings who are working and putting dinner on the tables of their families.
The ballet did eventually clear their debt, but only thanks to an anonymous band of angels who got them back into the black. But over-relying on big donors can sometimes be a problem in itself.
When you have one source of revenue that really is out of balance and you lose them, that really does inhibit your ability to move forward.
Take Daytona's Seaside Music Theater. Their troubles weren't caused by the economy, but by the loss of their major sponsor, the Daytona News-Journal. Taking a drastic move, they canceled their entire summer season to try to save money.
I'm always surprised when an organization simply cancels a season, and that's really unfortunate.
Instead, Seaside put on a series of fundraisers to try and shore up their finances. But it didn't work, and they finally brought down the curtain for good in October, still owing money to season ticket holders who'd paid in advance for shows that never happened.
I'm always saddened when a group makes the choice to go out of business. You always hope they can hunker down and hang in. Although I won't be surprised to see some groups not be able to weather the storm.
Unlike Seaside, the Grand Mask is very much a victim of the downturn. The New Year's Eve charity ball held every year in Orlando has raised money for the ballet, opera, and Philharmonic every year since 2002. Until now, that is. The arts groups behind it pulled the plug earlier this year, worried that cash-strapped donors wouldn't give enough to cover the costs of the event. Knight and Shepard think it's the right decision.
They'll be back. The issue is auctions are not doing that well, and they had to make a decision. And, they sat down. I know they thought it through.
It's a good time actually to look at some of the events and fundraisers and think about whether they really work and they're worth their time and money or not.
So whether it's raising cash, cutting back, or closing up shop, 2008 has been a rough year for the arts. But the multi-million-dollar question: will 2009 be any better?
In times of trouble, we seek the solace and the reflection that arts can provide. And I think groups that market themselves in that way and give that outlet to our fellow citizens who are having trouble will be all the better for it.
I cannot tell you that a lot of arts groups might not go under. I can't tell you that the quality of a lot of the performances and of the staff they're able to maintain won't be cut. I can't guarantee that at all. I wouldn't even begin to. It's a mystery how we're going to get out of this. But I do know that there will always be arts in Orlando, because there are even now artists who are making no money, who are still creating art, who are still putting it on show, and they do it for the pure love and passion and hope for the future of what it will bring.
And let's hope 2009 is a good year for everyone. Well, that's about all the time we have for this week's program here in the winter wonderland of Mount Dora. But stay tuned to WMFE, though. Up next is a bonus edition of the Arts Connection, where we'll have some of our favorite tuneful tales in a musical special. After that, we won't be back until next year. Our first program of 2009 is Thursday, January 8th at 8 p.m. right here on WMFE. And if you can't wait until then, well, we'll be on your radio every weekday during the holidays with the Arts Connection Minute on 90.7 FM at 9:59 a.m. And don't forget the Arts Connection website with more information about all the stories you've just seen and our video archive. All that at WMFE.org/arts. Thanks for watching. We hope you have a safe and happy holiday season. We'll see you next year. Bye. Next time on the Arts Connection.
I never thought I'd be a painter. I always thought I was going to do something else.
Impressionist painter Henrietta Milan tells us how she swapped life as a gymnast for a life of art. And it was a heaven-sent idea.
It was almost like divine intervention.
How this DeLand music graduate is giving back to local school children. All that and more Thursday, January 8th at 8 here on WMFE.